So if you think the 24 days in jail for the Lebanon Municipal Court case got your attention, I think I'm going to get it now. Out the state of Ohio, we're here for sentencing. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the pre-sentence investigation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Nicholson, anything on behalf?
Conduct that has not been altered by previous consequences. He has convictions in May of 2019, May of 2023. He had the offense, which is now a conviction, in November of 2025 in Lebanon Municipal Court that occurred days after being arraigned, in this case, in the lower court, where he was given no bond and was walked in on the warrant. A bond was not set, and days later he committed the offense that was charged out of Lebanon Municipal Court. His record shows that he had been off probation just over 2 weeks out of the Brown County case when he committed this offense. I think the statements made in the pre-sentence investigation show a complete lack of accountability on his part, taking responsibility for his conduct. And based on all of that, the state would be asking for the maximum period of incarceration. The court is not required to impose community control in this case, and I believe the defendant's history shows that he is not amenable or appropriate for community control. Additionally, if the court were to find that community control is appropriate, we would ask that he have a no contact order with the South Lebanon Starbucks so that the victim can go to work and have some peace of mind. Additionally, in further looking at the jail time credit, I believe he is entitled to 4 days of jail time credit in this case. He walked in on the warrant and was given no bond no bond was set in the Warren County Court, and he was never taken into custody. He was arrested on November 2nd for the Lebanon Municipal Court case. At his arraignment on November 21st in the Common Pleas Court after indictment, he was issued a cash bond out of this case, which he then posted and was released on monitor on November 25th. And so he was not held on any bond related to this incident until November 21st of 2025.
All right, thank you. Anything from probation?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Ernst?
Yes, Your Honor, I appreciate that. So I've been in pretty constant contact with Stefan since this happened. He did do jail time, whether there's credit or wherever it happened. It did create within him a change, Your Honor, and it's kind of as follows. If you recall, in this case, we did ask to modify his release to allow him to go to work. He is employed at PAX here in town, and he got with child support. He has a 7-year-old son that he's current on child support. They have worked with him to allow him to become employed, and he's current there. Some things that adversely affected him during this time, and particularly during the time he was incarcerated. Up till now, he's not been able to see his 7-year-old son, and his mother of his child is not against him. She's not filed anything. He has been without now for 4 months. The ability to participate in the sports that he was doing before this happened. He's become involved as he's able to with Faith Building Church here up by the Y. He's really stressed to me a need to further that with being able to go to church to develop the community. He's researched these things. He has, throughout this event and what's happened here, there has been a change that he has stressed repeatedly. He will engage in counseling. Those 4 things, I think, are something that's different than what's happened to him before, where he has made a decision in his mind that he needs to address this, and will follow any recommendations you make. This has had a deprivation of his ability to help raise his son. That hurts. We respect everything that's been said to you today. I think his reaction right now is that he's sorry for what's happened. He'll tell you. But he has made some changes, and he's tried to be as responsible as he could with these other things that he realizes he's jeopardized right now. Therefore, we're hoping you'll give him a chance to show you that he can address this. And I believe he supports me in what I just told you. Is that right, Stefan?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scott, is there anything you'd like to say before I pronounce sentence?
I just would like to say I'm sorry. I've been trying to change. I haven't been able to go back to church, and I think that I just been every night I think about this. It's always on my mind. I know the pain that I caused. I just want to make it right. But I'm so sorry.
The court has considered, anything else? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I don't want to continue to live a life of sin. I'm better than that. I know I am. I haven't seen my son in 4 months, but the consequences of my actions. I just want to make things right and be there for my son. And I just don't want to let any more people down.
The court has considered the statements made here today, the pre-sentence investigation, the purposes and the principles of sentencing, the relevant seriousness and recidivism factors. Mr. Scott, I read the statement that you gave during your pre-sentence investigation. Do you want to explain that to me?
I'm sorry, sir.
The written statement that you provided to court services during your pre-sentence investigation. I want you to reconcile that, what you said in that statement to me, to what you're saying now.
Yes, sir. I have a bad case of eczema. I'm not blaming it on eczema. It was my actions. I took the food and I immediately left. I was embarrassed. My face was plastered all over Facebook and Instagram.
Again, I don't understand what the eczema has that you've been caught. I just wonder how many times that you've done it and the person was too embarrassed to even come forward to. The person that you claim to be now standing before me, you need to reconcile that to me because right now my mind's going, well, this is the fourth time you've been caught. I'm guessing you've done it, people that drive drunk and get caught, and that's not the first time they did it. It's the first time they get caught. People stealing. It's never, you don't get caught every time you do something. So you try to reconcile with what the person that you're trying to represent to me today, reconcile that with the person that is in this report.
I'm trying to understand, like, what are you trying to...
Well, you're trying to represent yourself that, that, hey, it's a wake-up call for me.
Okay, I understand.
I got the message, Judge. This will never happen again.
The judge pressed Mr. Scott to reconcile his apology with statements in his pre-sentence report, questioning why counseling wasn't pursued earlier and why the same behavior continued despite prior convictions. The court found his explanations inconsistent and unconvincing, concluding he had not truly accepted responsibility or taken meaningful steps to change.
That's pretty hard to believe.
No, sir, I understand what you're saying, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to give...
I don't go to jail like that. I don't go to jail at all. When I got locked up for those 24 days, I've seen so many things. I was already a believer, but when I went into jail, the people that surrounded me with, the people that I've seen in church, the famous people that came and talked to us, gave me cards and little things that I could take with me on the outside to keep it together when I'm on the outside. So while I was in there, I formed prayer groups every night. It took a while to do that, but I feel like that was a calling. I feel like that the Lord put me in there to wake me up. That was my wake-up call. He was with me the entire time I was in there. People around me even felt it, and I was trying to, everything we did after we ate or before we ate and before we went to bed, we prayed. I'm focused on God. My wake-up call is God. Lord, I don't want to live a life of sin anymore, going down a path of nowhere. I know I'm better than that. I know what my calling is. I feel His presence, and this isn't. I've always been a believer, but I feel like He's put me in that position to where I could only turn to Him.
Have you ever undergone any type of counseling?
When I was in school as a kid with ADHD, but that's about it. I was talking to a therapist in probation, not a therapist, but the woman who does the packet with me. She's told me about people and solutions that I said I was interested in, because she recommended me to do counseling, and I thought that was a good idea.
And you've engaged in that counseling?
I'm sorry. Yes, online, yes, but I didn't have a job because I didn't have work release, so I'd have to pay for it. But I did do 4 classes online. I'll talk to people at Talbot House. They said they're willing to take me after my situation.
this has been now almost 6 years since your first conviction. You had one in 2019, one in 2023, and then one, since this case started, you got another conviction for the same type of behavior. Why wasn't counseling something that you sought? If you know you have a mental health problem, again, whether that's it is a recognized under the DSM-5 mental health disorder, but why wasn't counseling sought earlier?
I've never had anybody to talk to. When I talked to probation, the woman who talked to me put me in the right direction. I never thought it was something that I needed until I heard it from her. And the things that we talked about the police and how, things in my past, she said, I think you need counseling because this is a recurring thing. And I realize now that I'm at home, I can't walk around without looking out the window. She explained to me these things are not normal. Me, growing up, I always thought it was normal in the environment that I grew up in. Realizing what she has told me, I feel like
You thought this was normal behavior?
No, when I like the things that we talked about, like when I walk around in my house, I have to peek out the window or just do things that normal people don't do. And she said that is a cause from certain past trauma. And when she started explaining that to me, I agreed that I do need therapy. I never considered it until we went and dug in my past, is what I was trying to say.
You have health insurance now?
I do, with my job, yes.
That's one of the things we talked about, was getting his insurance reestablished through this company to then get those things set up and have the funds to pay for it.
All right.
Your Honor, I would just, in brief response, I would just note that the Talbert House assessment was completed January 15th of 2026, and the statement he made as a part of his PSI was January 10th of 2026, which were 6 weeks or more after his incarceration, and that don't reference anything that he's talking about here today before the court.
The assessment was separate. I called for the information that she gave me to Talbot House. I never did an assessment. I called.
Oh, you did an assessment?
I did do an assessment, yes, sir, but that was before I had a meeting with her. She basically gave me, hey, you should go over there and talk to this person at this place and get therapy from this person. That's basically what I was saying.
And you did that?
I called, yes, but I can't do anything while I'm on house arrest or doing this case.
Who told you that?
I can't. I can only leave for court privileges and work.
Well, that's certainly not true. If all you had to do was call community corrections and say, hey, I've got a counseling appointment, can I go? And they would say, Mr. Henry, what would they say?
They would say, as soon as you get this verification, you're good to go.
Yeah, that's all it takes is a phone call. Yeah, that's simply not true. Yeah, Mr. Scott, there's nothing that you have said today that convinces me, and again, whether this, I'm not going to get into a discussion as to whether this is a mental health disorder or not. The DSM certainly recognizes it as such, but I don't think you've gotten the message. I mean, you, and again, my mind keeps going back to, and again, the two prior convictions and then getting a conviction while this case was pending. I cannot imagine for the life of me, knowing that you're under indictment on a felony charge for this offense, going out and doing the same thing. I mean, that just completely blows my mind. I'm going to make a finding today, sir, based upon the information I have, that you are not amenable to community control and that prison is now necessary to fulfill the purposes and principles of sentencing, primarily punishment and deterrence. So if you think the 24 days in jail for the Lebanon Municipal Court case got your attention, I think I'm going to get it now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order you to serve 10 months in prison. The reason I'm not ordering you to serve 12 months, the maximum, is because you did enter a plea and did not make this young lady go through the trauma of having to relive that whole thing in front of 12 strangers. So you're going to serve 10 months in prison. You get credit for the 4 days you served on this case. Even though you served 24 days in jail, the 20 of those days are going to be credited to your Lebanon Municipal Court case. Now, the court does make a finding that the prison is necessary based upon the extensive prior history of this particular offense. Obviously, you haven't responded to any type of sanctions that the court has imposed previously. and that you just continue to engage in the same type of behavior. So that will be the court's finding. You're also subject to a discretionary period of post-release control, which means on your release from prison, the adult parole authority may supervise you for up to 2 years. If you violate those terms of supervision, the adult parole authority can return you to prison for up to 1/2 of this court's original sentence. If your violation is that you commit another felony, you can be returned to prison for 1 year or the period that you have left on post-release control, whichever is longer, and that time would run consecutive to any additional prison time that you get sentenced to. The court does find that you are indigent for the purpose of any fines, costs, or other financial sanctions. Now, there may be opportunities for you to receive up to 1 day per month for participating in any programs that are sponsored by the Department of Corrections. Finally, you have a right to appeal the court's decision if you're sentenced to the 12th District Court of Appeals. If you want to appeal, you must file your notice of appeal within 30 days of today's date. If you can't afford to pay for the transcript or anything necessary for your appeal, that can all be provided to you at no cost. If you cannot afford an attorney, I will provide, or the court will provide one to you at no cost. Ms. Nicholson, is there anything else?
You waived the fines and costs?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Mr. Ernst?
No, Your Honor.
All right, this time, Mr. Scott, your bond is revoked. You are now remanded into the custody of the Warren County Sheriff's Office for transport to the Department of Corrections. This time, there's a couple of deputies standing behind you. They're going to take you into custody. That's all.
Finding him not amenable to community control, the judge sentenced him to 10 months in prison, citing punishment and deterrence. He was remanded to the custody of the Warren County Sheriff's Office for transport to the state prison system with potential post-release supervision.